Hello everyone, welcome back to Scrape Metal and Roll, the Limited Adhesion podcast. This is episode 16, the Champcast, where we talk to all of the champions from Prime Season 9, from Endurance Season 2, and from TCR Season 2 and USF Season 3. So joining me this time, it's brand new Prime Season 9 champion, Alex Murphy. How you doing, Alex?
Woohoo. One and only.
Yeah.
Never happening again.
Yeah, well, you never know. And the final ever Club 1500 Prime champion is Philipp Miles. Hey, sorry, Rich Meesters. Get it right. wrong open wheeler. You're right, Rich.
I'm all right, Gareth. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, man. Yep. And then moving on, it is the Endurance LMP2 Champion Stephen Maxwell. You all right, Stephen?
Doing pretty well.
Good. And next up, the LMP3 Champion, Ture Molarin. How you doing, Ture?
I'm doing good.
Good. And then we have the TCR Champion. I might struggle with the pronunciation of this. Is it Ture Molarin? Is that right?
It's close enough.
Yeah. And then finally, the USF Champion. It's Molarin Ture. You all right, Ture?
It's kinda.
Yeah, good. And finally, the USF2000 Club 1500 Champion, Philipp Miles. You're right, Philipp.
Hi, Gareth.
Excellent. Cool. Well, welcome to you all then. It was a fantastic season of racing, 4 championships, well, 4 different disciplines, 6 titles on the line. Let's start with Prime then. Alex, tell us about your season. Quite dominant, it seemed, from the other side of the fence.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it kind of could be put that way. I don't know. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a bit of a rude. I don't know. I can't think of words that aren't offensive. But it was I was able to do a lot of practice, right? Obviously, which definitely helped me over a lot of other drivers, which is not to say that other drivers weren't practicing, but I was doing an absurd amount, way too much. Don't need to get into how many laps I did at every track. But also, I know that there were a lot of drivers this season, especially that weren't able to do the full season. So some races maybe had a bit of an easier go at it than it could have been. Right, guys like Line, he did 1, maybe 2 races. Greening only did 1 or 2. Ettridge, I don't even remember if he showed up at all. The other Ollie Walker, right? Afonso only did the first half of the season. Nick didn't do any of the season, right? So there's a lot of guys that are very fast, very competitive guys that weren't at a lot of the races. So definitely helped make it a little less stressful, I would say, because there were only a few people that were kind of having to fight for the lead instead of 10.
Yeah. I think as you say, there was a lot of strong drivers who weren't able to put up the full season challenge, like Rob Miller, for example, as well, who you had a fantastic fight with at Jerez.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't remember if Rob got to 6 races or if he only did 5, but I think it definitely could have, if he had the full season, it could have been a lot closer than it ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, Rob is just doomed to always be the bridesmaid and never the bride, it seems. So one day he's going to nail it.
Does he not have a championship yet?
He does not.
That's
crazy. Yeah. He's that driver like R. Sterling Moss, or who's the other one in F1 who was always renowned for winning but never getting a championship? There's a couple of drivers like that.
No, there's too many, especially in the old days.
Maldonado.
Yeah. Pierre Gasly, championship quality.
Yeah, for sure.
But going into the season, I kind of before any of the new schedules were out or anything, I kind of figured it was going to be the last like full season that I could do in the LOA for a bit, anyways. Because I was, if the same season structure was still going on, then the next season would probably be largely just when I'm unavailable, because I have my own commitments with karting on Sundays throughout the summer. So I had the approach of like I need to win one of these championships now, or it's not going to happen, kind of thing. And with the new, like when the new calendars were announced, kind of spanning the entire year, and it was like, okay, I really need to win now because I'm never going to be able to do a full season again, as long as I'm still karting at least.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting you to disappear though, are you? So you can still come back and have a tilt at some point when the karting dies down a bit.
I'll still be around to like try and get in Toure's way and stuff. I just don't think I can do enough rounds to compete in a championship unless I just like go crazy and win everything and like people just have really bad luck. Then maybe, but like I don't. In terms of like there being 7 rounds that will count for points, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do like 7 rounds in a championship kind of thing.
Yeah, I got you. No, that's fine. Yeah, and tell us then, what are your like highlights and lowlights of the season?
Oh.
I mean, obviously, some of your doubles have to be. You've won. Did you? How many rounds did you win both races?
Just Road Atlanta, I think. It's the only one. Wow. I was close with Jerez, but it was kind of hard to pass there, which I don't know. I didn't think it would be quite so hard to pass at Jerez, but
yeah, that straight was because it's such a fast corner coming onto that straight. It made it quite hard to follow on there, even in the F4, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't, like, I don't know how many memorable moments per se I had. Like my season started off with a nice spin and crash in the lead at Long Beach. I think probably plenty of people have seen the classic, like when you have a guy in front of you enter the chicane at Watkins Glen, and it looks like they just crashed into the wall on the right side, but then actually, nope, they didn't. So that was kind of happened to me at Long Beach. Stott was right in front of me. I was lapping him. Then it looked like he crashed, so I slammed on the brakes, but I was in the middle of turning, so I spun myself, and then he didn't even actually hit the wall. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And I think I got a position back, so I finished P5, quote unquote, because Messenger got disconnected on the last lap.
Oh, it's agonizing for him. Yeah.
I mean, Magny-Cours, like the second race there was very bad. Also,
there's a big pile-up, wasn't there, at the hairpin?
I think that was the first. That was why I got such an easy win in the first race, because everyone died in the hairpin immediately, except for me in the lead. But off the start of the second race, I got shuffled a bit into the dirt, so I was way down the field, trying to make my way back up, making silly mistakes. Got to slow down. Ture got in front of me after that point, and I may have sort of put my car through his, just a smidge.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Somehow it didn't seem to damage his car too much. Like he got spun out. My car was destroyed. Like I had no pace all of a sudden, and kind of went downhill from there. I don't know. I wish like that one kind of stung, because that felt like a really strong track for me.
Yeah, and Watkins, I suppose you were unlucky with me dropping it and running out of talent in the feature race, because you were
there were
right
a
in contention
few
there.
situations throughout the season where like luck went my way and then didn't go my way, sort of thing. Like with Road Atlanta, there was just a lot of crashing in that second race, like, so that really helped me get back to the front for the double. Sebring,
I mean, you
second
were
race again. I think a lot of people were crashing.
You were a class apart though in Road Atlanta. I mean, your pace was something else compared to everyone else there.
I mean, Ture and Rob were right around the same pace. I don't think like I got a gap when I got into the lead in the first race, but only because I think Ture and Rob started fighting.
Mm.
And yeah, Watkins Glen, like he said, was a bit of a mess. I don't know. Like I said to you at the time, though, I don't know. Like, obviously, you spinning didn't help, but there was kind of there were a lot of things that happened all at once that was kind of like something was bound to happen. I don't know. Like James was kind of, I don't know what he was doing going into the corner. Even before you spun, he was driving a little silly. And then he kind of just threw his car across the track, so I had to avoid him. And then I had Maxwell right behind me, and obviously he can't react to that because he's right on my butt. So it just ended up being a whole thing.
Yeah, I did watch that bit about James, and he was just on the verge of losing it for just all the way out of that tricky left-hander, wasn't he? So yeah, right on the verge of grip, or limit of adhesion, as you want to say.
And yeah, and then right at the end of the season, I'll just say that I'm glad we didn't have rain earlier because, man, that was bad for me.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we've talked many times about you famously racing with no force feedback. But last time you were on the podcast with Rich, and there was possibly mention of a bit of an equipment sale. So, is there any progress on that?
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot. I think it's been established a little bit that I do not have a good memory. So, thanks for the reminder.
That's
I'll have to bug him again. I still have it.
All right.
Yeah, I think that'd be well worth doing. And and just quickly before we move on, Alex, obviously we were well in contention for TCR and USF2000 until the last round. Some cruel luck with you dropped it in the USF, I believe, or
I mean, I needed a lot to go right in the end for USF, and a lot to go wrong for Ture, and I was racing it right after TCR. I wasn't in like a great mindset of like having a nice, fun, chill race. I was wasn't pleased, so that kind of immediately took effect spinning into the first turn.
Yeah, no, big shame there. So definitely you've got unfinished business with some more titles I'm sure will come your way when you get back to more seasons of racing in the LOA. So, but a massive congratulations to you on Prime Season 9, a well-earned championship.
Thank you.
Let's come on to yourself then, Rich, the last ever Prime Club 1500 champion. How was your season from your side?
I don't know if we should ever say ever, Gareth. You never know what will happen, right, in terms of decisions being made. But it was a good season.
I think the new layout seems pretty well established with the gold, silver, and bronze. I think it makes plenty of sense, and it stopped people asking the question, "How do I qualify for Club 1500?" It's a bit more rigid in its structure. But yeah, sorry. For sure.
No worries. It was a bit of a tale of, I think, 2 seasons almost, with the first half of the season and the second. And then even within that, it tended to be a tale of 2 races for me. It seemed when I did well, looking back through the early part of the season, I was always doing really well in the feature race and not quite doing so well in the initial heats. So it was, out of the first 5 races, I think 4 wins within those. So I won the feature at Long Beach, I won the feature at Magny-Cours, I won the feature at Road Atlanta, and I won the feature at Sebring. And then in all of those, I also did really well overall, finishing either 6th or 7th within those. So felt like it was really successful. Going back and watching the recordings, heard a lot of, how did Rich get so fast this season? So it was, for me, a bit of learning new things. I got involved in some driver training through Suelio Almeida's online courses. They really clicked with me, and it tended to just increase my overall race pace. I think some of the challenges I had through the season across all of the events was really just learning how to race fast and then race fast with other cars. So drive fast, I kind of got that. And then, well, how am I safely passing and things like that. And that was something that I'm still working on learning, still trying to get a bit better with.
As are we all. I mean, we all have incidents and accidents at time to time, don't we? So, yeah, don't worry about that. Well,
No.
as I say though, yeah, you're absolutely right that we really did notice that pickup in pace. You were incredibly rapid at times. There are a number of races where I couldn't keep up with you in various classes. So, yeah.
And then the end of the season kind of went a bit to crap, and I think it was probably a function of nerves, a function of maybe trying to push a little too hard. A couple of tracks where I thought I would do really well at this season, I didn't, and sometimes it's just bad luck as well. It was I think overall a really close fight between myself and Philipp and Steve Pepper over the season. It went back and forth a little bit, and ultimately it turned out well for me in Prime, and I missed the mark a little bit in USF. So overall, I thought I had a lot of fun. Was really happy with some of my overall results as well in Magny-Cours, which I kind of felt pretty comfortable at, having raced it a few times where others hadn't. Getting a win and a 6th overall was really handy. Thought I would do well at Watkins Glen. Turned out I decided to crash into the back of Philipp early on, and that also cost me some positioning. And when we got to Suzuka with a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, big ouch for that then, definitely. So I'd say that was probably one of your lowlights, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably those last 2 races, I would say I just didn't feel like I was driving to my potential and making mistakes, and the wet caught me out a little bit, which is funny because I've actually now determined in some of my racing I do pretty well in the wet. I just have to be a little more cautious, and I tend to take a bit of a slower approach, which tends to pay off in the rain. But for that day, things weren't working out well for me at all.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get used to, doesn't it, the rain? But yeah, 2 poles, 2 fastest laps, and as you say, a number of wins, and some really fast drivers in there. Zhao Tome, 8 fastest laps across the season, so a very rapid competitor, as is obviously Philipp and Steve. So yeah, a massive well done to yourself, man, and great driving.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the IndyCar?
I am. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. I'm finding, at least with my new wheelbase as well, that until the tires warm up, it can be a bit of a handful in terms of just, a little bit of shake, rattle, and roll in terms of the car until the tires get warmed up. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I do think my number one highlight for the whole season across everything was probably the overall win, which was my first ever in the LOA in USF at Road America, and that kind of bizarre race we had with the full course yellow.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. I was so pleased for you. I mean, I'm always so happy when people get their maiden wins, and yeah, absolutely made up for you, because you've been a big part of the LOA for quite a long time now. So yeah, really nice to see that at Road America. So yeah, big congrats to you for that one, and for the title.
Well, thank you.
No worries, man. Let's move on then to talk about Endurance, the championship that was running alongside Prime on those Sundays, and our Season 2 champion and now a double LOA champion, Stephen Maxwell. How you doing, man? How was your season?
It was stunning. I guess I would say that this season feels more concrete for a championship than the previous season did. The half the season with low participation in season 1, and then some of the whoopsies that were going on with session setups. Last season's championship felt a little weak.
What, you didn't like the 0x challenge?
I got P2 in that twice, so it worked for me. But yeah, no. So with the hiccups and whatnot, that one felt like that could have gone either way, especially since Molarin missed out on a whole round of scoring that he was in, and it worked out. But then this season, we, despite some attendance issues there towards the end, uh, I think the level of competition stayed high. The sessions were set up cleanly and mostly correctly.
You're welcome.
So thank you. So yeah, it was also a very, very tight challenge with Glukakeki, and with the way the season opened, I definitely wasn't expecting to be in a fight for the championship right towards the end. So.
Yeah, you mentioned to me before that you felt it really came down to that penalty that he picked up towards the end. Was it at Watkins? He picked up the penalty that he obviously carried into the final round at Suzuka, and kind of tied one hand behind his back, really, didn't it? But because he was a fierce competitor against you all season, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. The first time I would say that I recognized Glukakeki was at Spa. Long Beach round one, just a fat mess as to what it is. I'm not really paying attention to him racing around. I'm just concerned about not putting in the wall, right? But then at Spa in race 2, we were side by side going into I can't remember the name of the chicane at the end of the long straight.
Fanyou or the bus stop? The bus stop, right at the end of the lap.
No.
Oh,
you go up Au Rouge, a long straight, and then you got the chicane going into the
Lacombe.
Yeah, Lacombe. So yeah, I spun it in Lacombe in race 2, and it was because I was side by side with Glukakeki at the time. So I outbroke myself, I guess you could say. So that was the first time I really kind of set his name into my mind, and then it was like the entire rest of the season, it was just okay. Where's Glukakeki? Where's Molarin? Where's Glukakeki? Where's Molarin? So. Yeah, it was fierce competition, definitely, start to finish. And amazingly enough, I took a look at it. Only 4 of my races weren't on the podium all season.
That's incredible, man. Yeah, just a stunning achievement, really. Yeah, and you mentioned Molarin there, and I think if he'd been available for the full season and not looking after a small potato, as Jules and Dom put it on TCR comms, it would have been. It would have been 3 of you probably fighting for that title. It would have been even more stressful. But yeah, no, stunning drive. Well, what would you say were your best rounds and your worst rounds?
Best rounds would definitely be Sebring and Watkins. Sebring I walked away with a 2-1, and Watkins I walked away with a 1-1. So to me, those were definitely the solid settlements of the season for me, and like. Really and truly from Sebring on to the end of the season, so the last 4 races, it was just 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 with Glukakeki there. So, and as far as lows go, I would say that race 1 of Long Beach, at Long Beach, I was already kind of like, well, crap, this season isn't going to go my way, because I wasn't doing so well pace-wise there. Kind of lucked out, I think, getting P1 in race 2, but that was definitely not a happy start to the season for me, and then that spin that put me all the way at the back of everything at Spa was another one. So I was like 2 races back to back that I'm like, okay, this isn't going so well. So that would probably be the low points of my season, I would say.
Yeah, sensible. Yeah, and are you obviously we're dropping the Dallara P217 for this season, the next season coming up, which is a bit of a shame because it's a pretty awesome car. Are you driving the GTPs next season?
Yeah, right now I'm signed up for the Acura. So we'll see how the practice turns out on that.
Yeah.
Right now, just looking at Imola, which as a track by itself, it's not looking promising, but I think it's gonna be another one of those. There are certain tracks on the schedule that are not going to go my way just straight off of pace, and opening the season up with one of those is always fun.
Yeah, are you going to miss the LMP2, or are you looking forward to the new challenge though, when you get past Mimola, obviously?
I am looking forward to it because it's, a broader used car, and I do have some experience in it. But it is hard to walk away from the P2 because out of all the cars I've raced, the most hours I've put into a car are behind basically the Skip Barber and the LMP2. So
yeah, and it showed when we did the fun race at Interlagos that you were clearly a Skippy fan as well, same as me. So yeah, it was disappointing that you span on that on the Lake Descent, because that would have been a great race. So never mind. Hey, cool.
yeah, a little sour about that one.
Yeah, you can't win them all, can you? I need to get
Yeah,
I need to get the
and
occasional win to salve my sore ego.
fair, and I do want to put out a public apology to is it? Dang it, I am horrible with names. No. Was it Herbert? Is his name?
I can tell you. Where is he? Shep.
Yeah, and yeah, I just really want to say sorry to him because he was having a blast going side by side, and I was having fun with it too, but strategically I was upset with it, and I might have displayed that incorrectly in the chat afterwards.
I did wince, I must admit, and I did message him about it because it's not like you at all to be like that. So you're never one to normally sort of shy away from a good battle and a good fight. So yeah, that's really appreciated, man. That's really nice, good stuff. Cool. Well, on that happy note, then let's move on to the LMP3 champion, Ture Molarin. How you doing, Ture?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Cool.
Been fun listening to everyone talking about their season this far.
Yeah, and obviously you were probably head and shoulders above the field for most of the LMP3 season, so perhaps not your toughest challenge apart from when Russell really stepped up to the plate, but tell us about it from your side.
I chose to drive this P3 car as I knew I wouldn't be competitive, most likely in the P2 car, and was just looking to have a fun time, really. But it showed that I had some pace over the field in race 1 at Long Beach. Also one of, I think we've said this 2 times already on the podcast, but one of my more liked tracks.
It does show every time we race there.
And then I didn't show up for Spa. Can't remember why. Felt like I needed a night off, most likely. And then I decided to buy Magny-Cours as practice started, and that is for sure the lowest point of the season for me.
Yeah, I'm not bitter at all about that.
No, I did hit a certain podcast host.
We've all been there.
Yeah, no,
I think
something's
that's
got
when
to
you.
happen.
I think that's when you let me take the lead in the LMP3 for a little bit.
Yeah, you took the lead of the championship, didn't you? Yeah.
Because I scored basically 0 points in 2 races there. And I did feel that, well, had a good time. Might not be able to do so well. I was kind of on the low point after Magny-Cours. But it seemed like I followed it up with 2 double wins. Got the pace back and had an overall great time, especially at Road Atlanta, fighting with Russell. And then he
indeed.
picked up some real pace for the end of the season. We had some good battles, and I kind of fell out of love with the car. Had a few stall spins. Tossed 1 or 2 wins away.
But you pretty much already got it in the bag by the end of the season, so it didn't matter, did it?
No. I finished up about 100 and something points ahead at the end, which was by far the biggest win margin I had over the entire season or seasons of racing.
Yeah, that's good. No, it was an incredible performance, and it's so funny because at Magny-Cours, I must admit I did practice probably more for that race than many others, but I don't know, it just really clicked. That car on that track really worked for me. Whereas when we came to Road Atlanta after that, and I came in there with a real high after Magny-Cours, thinking, right, I've got pace here, and then I just could not get it around the track at Road Atlanta anywhere near the speeds you guys were doing. It was ridiculous.
I think I was lucky that the Road Atlanta was the race right after Magny-Cours, as it is also one of my more light tracks. I got straight up to speed really quickly, figured it out, and could carry that on for a big part of the season afterwards.
Maybe we should do a 6 tips on the LMP3 at some point after the TCR one. We could just use your race replays and some of the Russells and just make the video out of that. So an astonishing season for you. Congrats on that title, which obviously made you a 3-time champion. And then we obviously come on to Touring Cars TCR Season 2, and which is when you became a 4-time champion in the LOA. So this one, a much more competitive, much more really, really good season, and a lot of fighting, a lot of drivers that you had to beat in that, including obviously Alex. Stephen was up there in different races, although you had a lot of bad luck, didn't you, Stephen, across the season? But tell us about TCR.
TCR, way more to talk about. For starters, it's a bit more controversial from time to time. And maybe the season that I actually didn't think I was competitive at all in, to be even close at the end. Out of the 16 races I drove, I only won 1. I don't think I was ever the fastest car on track. I just ended up staying really consistent throughout the races. Which was just relatively lucky.
A very difficult series to put together 2 consistent races every week, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But it all kind of started falling apart towards the end as well. I think I started feeling the pressure once I kind of realized I was in contention to win. But with the likes of Ward joining in later for the season and still managing to snag a 3rd, very impressive. But it just got harder and harder to do those competitive results. And I feel like that showed on my driving on the last 3 races overall. I had a relatively bad round at Long Beach, had an incident with Don Parker, and then managed to jump the start for the 2nd race. I'll just call that instant karma and move on. So it ended up being the worst result from maybe my favorite track of the season. And then we had Hockenheim as well, where I just ended up having an incident in race 2 with Russell, I think it was. I hadn't cleared him by as much as I thought, and I managed to spin myself out.
Oh, was that T1, wasn't it, on the start?
Yeah.
Second
Just
race,
off the start as well. So I ended 2 feature races before turn 2 races in a row. It was it's a low point for sure. And
definitely.
then on to Charlotte and everything that happened there. That could be an entire podcast in of itself, really.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit, about the incidents or not?
We can walk through it. But I had a relatively clean first race. I had an awful qualified 13th, but got off the line very well. Made up some good positions and finished that race in P4, maybe?
3.
Yeah, you're on the podium.
Oh, I wasn't the podium. Okay, yeah. I should know this stuff, shouldn't I? Well, yeah. After Dom and Alex, which were both just way quicker than me. And I also think at that point Alex was leading the championship. I kind of felt it was over. Had to try some drastic maneuvers, which showed in race 2. I think Alex had a bad start to the second race.
I don't remember,
Drop
honestly.
back up.
I think I was just trying to stay somewhat close to you, but I was trying to just survive. I wasn't being as aggressive as you, definitely.
I mean, that goes to a comment that I wanted to make, which is I think TCR probably has the highest count of front runners. So when you flip,
sure.
Yeah, so when you flip the field at the end of race 1, passing is a nightmare.
I thought you were going to say it has the highest count of incidents.
Oh, that too.
It probably does.
They had a clean one. They had an entire clean round. No reports.
We did. Well, that was... Yeah. Wasn't a Long Beach, and that wasn't technically clean. People just chose not to report stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
And that then spilled over to Charlotte, where people thought stuff was allowed. Because that was by far the longest incident reel of the season. No, but second race, then I had made some contact with Dom again, I think, and stuff unfolded from there. Kind of turned into World War II there for the few last laps, and I managed to sneak the win on the last lap. I think Alex was in contention up until that point, was even leading, so it was extremely close.
Yeah, it was indeed. Yeah, so but hopefully you've all, everyone's put it behind them, and we can move on from the incidents and drama and get back to the...
I am happy.
Screw Ture. I'm gonna take him out every race I can attend. That definitely wasn't what I already did in half the races we did anyways.
I don't think we had that many incidents.
Nah, we had like 2. Which I mean, two's fine over like 2.5 seasons. That's normal.
Yeah. And
Just wait
as
till
you
we
guys
get
have said,
rain in the TCR.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's going to be mad. It's going to be so fun. I mean, as you guys said though, yeah, probably the most competitive field out of all of them, with Russell up there and David Ward, as you've mentioned. Don Parker, John Cook's getting quicker and quicker, Stephen Greening, who missed a lot of the rounds, Damon Mitchell, who sadly sort of stopped racing halfway through. Hopefully Damon comes back soon, because he was very rapid as well. So yeah, just a crazy amount of good drivers, and next season we've got the Formula Llama boys joining the party as well, so it's going to be a real tough battle just to get anywhere near that top 10, so very exciting stuff.
I think you sit there and you look at the signups for next season. Prime and Endurance look like they should be full fields based off signups.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope these numbers keep going all the way through the seasons. It's just going to be epic. Probably going to be the best LOA seasons ever. Although I've been mired down in the back of the field, but who cares when the racing's going to be just as good as I hope it is. So yeah, I'm very excited about these upcoming seasons. Let's move on from TCR then. Congrats again to you, Ture, because to come out on top against that star-studded field is mightily impressive. So yeah, great work.
Thank you.
Let's come on then to USF2000.
That thing, yes.
Yeah. Now this I don't really understand how you ended up on top, because until maybe 2-3 rounds to go, it seemed like it was Alex's title. It was in the bag, and you seemed down and out because you had dreadful rounds for the first 3 or 4 rounds. So how did you do it?
Honestly, if anyone knows, please send me a message and tell me.
Ovals.
Yeah,
I think
pretty much.
everyone collectively all had a terrible season in USF. That's the answer.
Yeah. No, I ended last season on a high. We had a really close battle there too, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so, but I'll take it.
I think it was.
I think you claimed the championship by race 7 last season.
But like the last few, I think Alex joined late, so the last few rounds were really close. I think Alex was overall the fastest driver. So I was happy to just grab that championship and then kind of call this lay low season. Just have fun, drive the car and enjoy for the last season we were going to race it for now. Race 1 went relatively well. I think me and Alex had one incident there. It showed from our fierce racing prior to the season starting. But then I had 4 of maybe my worst rounds in existence. So I for sure thought I was out of it. I have no idea how I managed to claim anything back from it.
Well, as the guys say, ovals apparently.
Yeah, I got one double at the oval.
Gateway. Because you won both from the Gateway, didn't you? Yeah.
I won both of the races after. Was it Philipp that ended up being the unfortunate?
No, it was Kenneth
victim?
Miles.
That was Kenneth Miles, yeah. Unfortunate victim of a safety car issue.
Yeah.
Kenneth Miles.
But,
is that the child of Ken
I've clearly, yeah. I was just sitting there thinking, I'm saying this wrong, aren't I?
Kenneth Olive.
Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It's been a long season, a lot of names, a lot of people.
A lot of names. But no, and I think I just got a feeling at it from that double win. Just I closed the gap massively. I started to feel like I had a shot at it. And then we went to Long Beach to race after. I am pretty sure. Yeah,
it was Long Beach and then Charlotte to finish, wasn't it? So.
And that's also a race that stated before today, where I felt like I would have the pace. It showed that I did. I think Alex also started off with a penalty right through, which really helped me out. And then I was somehow leading going into the last round.
Looking back at the scores, Alex's round 6, round 7 were just like barely in the point scoring. So
yeah,
I think you missed round 3, or because that's the only way I can explain the 0 for you.
Yeah, I think Alex missed. It was one of the old races. I think he didn't show up.
I wasn't there for USA, but I mean, let's be real. At an oval, probably gonna crash anyways, so I wasn't missing much.
Yeah, I think scored a total of 23 points.
I don't know how that happened.
As, season 1.
Gateway. It was a little bit of an oops on my part to take Alex out.
Yeah. Oh God, I've just remembered what happened. Yeah.
It was a bit of a messy one, so. Didn't you? Yeah. You could probably have blocked it.
It's a restart issue, wasn't it?
Well, Alex was trying to game the start, pulls out the queue.
I was not trying to game the start. Gavin
we all
caught
blame
on
Jules.
the gas. look, you can look at the data. We all have our data saved. He got on the gas. I was only paying attention to the car in front of me. He got on the gas and then stopped. He was 100% on the gas. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. And then Rich responded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
think
responded
that's-
twice when I needed to only respond once. So yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. Never mind. But these things happen. Ovals can be a nightmare. So.
Yeah, never again. Please,
Well,
please.
You know, I don't know. I think the USF will come back at some point because it is a car that's pretty popular, isn't it? We'll have to wait.
Just
to see.
without the oval rounds, please.
Yeah. money in brown envelopes to the usual address.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do oval rounds, stick something like scuba in there. Just real short track. That's gonna cluster everybody no matter what.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of Scuba 1000 in the Legends cars? That was short enough.
Something else.
It was something else. Wasn't it?
Very weird car.
Yeah, it just felt very weird on there. Normally, the Legend doesn't feel quite like that. So, yeah. Before we move on then, Ture, Wizards fire Ruby in TCR, but racing Castrol liveries. That was a bit weird.
Yes. Us teaming up with Charlie, he asked if we had any special liveries that we were gonna run. I said we do have the team one, but if you want something, I know he's a fan of old TCR cars or old racing liveries. So if you have something in mind, find something, and I'm open for it. I also felt like everyone would be happy we wouldn't have 100 Wizards on the grid once again.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a good idea.
Well, I wasn't
Could
complaining.
at least slap the Wizard logo on it.
It's work and effort, and we all know I don't do that.
Well, I wasn't complaining because I thought the Castrol livery looked great on the grid, and I was very pleased to see him because, yeah, just like Charlie, it seems I'm a big fan of the old liveries and the old Tom's Castrol Supra that we used to see in Gran Turismo.
I enjoyed it as well. I found it refreshing to race a non-Wizards livery, as I've done now for a few seasons.
Yeah, a long time now, isn't it? Yeah. And Wizards Black Sapphire, I mean, I'm no gem expert, but aren't sapphires normally blue, like Smurfs?
Yes, but these ones are black. I don't know if it's a real thing. You'll have to ask.
It is.
Yeah. You'd have to ask the head wizard about why.
Yeah.
I just find it sounds cool, so I'm happy to roll with it.
And how do you feel about now topping the Hall of Fame? 5 titles compared to Dave's 3.
I don't know. I think I was already topping the amount of wins last season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was lacking the championships. I had 2. Dave had 3. I think there's one else on 3.
I can't remember.
Greening.
Trent is on 2. Oh, Greening's on 3. There you go.
Yeah. So of course it feels good to be on top, but also 5 seems like a way too high number for how good I feel I am.
There's a target on your back next season.
Yeah. And I'm happy to have done it before next season because I think the field is going to be way more competitive.
Everyone can use my my setups for IndyCar except Ture. Ture not allowed.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congrats again, Ture. So a stunning season. 3 out of the 4 championships you competed in, you got the title. So brilliant stuff. One day you'll get that Prime 1 to complete the set. Let's move on then. He's been waiting very patiently, and massive thank you to you, Philipp. How are you doing? Talk to us about your USF season.
My USF season, I think it was an absolute roller coaster. I had an awful start at Watkins Glen. Both races I dropped out, finished last in the pretty much on the field as well as with the 1500 championship. Then Snetterton, same. I was again completely out of both races. Then there was the first oval race, lap 1. I got into a collision, was 3 laps down, and I was like, well, I pretty much have 2 dropped results already, and yeah, that might be it. But then I kind of had some miracle race where with 3 laps down, I was lucky to get the lucky dog 3 times. And I think when the last green flag was on track, I think there was like 2 laps to go. And there was another big crash with a lot of cars involved, and I just somehow survived. And I ended up P14, but looking at the clubbers results, it was me in P14. I think Rich was P15, Steve Engie P16, Steve Pepper P17. So that kind of meant that I won that race for the championship, which was unbelievably awesome.
That's a brilliant comeback. Well done.
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, how is this impossible? And yeah, for the upcoming races, I think I did quite fine. It was a lot of back and forth with Rich and me, like who is gonna finish in front of who. Also, big shout out to him for winning the Road America race, which was the feature race. It was also quite funny because when we were going from the heat to the feature race, Kenneth was supposed to start in pole, but he was coming back too late from the bathroom break, so he had to start from the pit lane because he wasn't on the grid.
That's agonizing.
Yeah, I kind of wondered where he was.
Yeah, we were also wondering, but then yeah, he was back, and he was like, I think like 10 seconds later, so which was quite unfortunate. And also that Reese, the start for the second race, I think I was right behind you, Rich, P2 somewhere, and lap 1 I was too eager in one of the turns. I spun around, and then I tried to go back on track. I spun again, and I think I was the reason there was yellow flags. There was another car off track, but it feels like that I was one of the reasons, but it gave me at least a comeback chance. And when there was the restart and some huge pile up again in turn 3, I was the only car who could fit on the inside of everyone else. So I think I gained like 6 or 7 positions out of that, and I finished in P5 or 6, which also felt quite unbelievable. And yeah, I think that going into the second half of the season, it was always like, where is Rich? Is he behind me? I'm having a look at the standings, and so I stay at least ahead of him, and
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely was also in Prime.
Yeah, I mean, second in the Prime Championship as well, and not many points behind at all. So a really good challenge there. So obviously it sounds like that Gateway race would be a highlight because of the fluky win. And what other tracks would you say were particular highlights, lowlights of the season, Prime and USF?
I mean, obviously the first 2 races in USF were just dropped out of pretty much all 4 races. They were like, well, why did I even bother to show up? Those actually happened to be my drop results as well. And yeah, highlights definitely the first race at the USA International, where I just got a comeback, and I also like the feature race on Charlotte, where I was fortunate to start on pole, and then I finished P4. I dropped behind Gavin at the last lap because I braked too late into the final chicane, and I had to slow down. It should have been my first podium, but let's see next season.
Yeah.
And Prime, it was. Yeah, in the end, it was like it was like one. I think like how many points was it? 8 or so. It's like one result better or worse, and it could have been the other way around. But it is what it is. I was just a bit unhappy that with I think Manicure and Road Atlanta, because they were also like in the officials during the time. So I was like happy to drive them in the officials, get some practice in, and I didn't really have that great results. And unfortunately, I missed Jerez. I was really looking forward to it, but unfortunately, I couldn't be there.
Yeah. No, it's always a shame when we had to miss rounds and things. So, but yeah, it certainly seems to be a fair statement to say that these open wheelers are your strength. How was your USF? Your TCR and your LMP3 seasons from your side? 15th overall LMP3.
Yeah, LMP3. I think I did like one race prior to the season, and when I joined the first one, which I don't think Long Beach is a great way to start. And
it's a baptism of fire. It's the best way to start.
No, when I did that one, I didn't really feel that I have the pace and could keep up, and I felt more like, well, I'm more like an obstacle. So I was like, nah, let's maybe do it in a future season, and let's skip it for this one, because I just knew that during the week I just don't get the hours to practice for 2 different cars in. So I just focused on one because there was just no time in the evenings.
Yeah, it's the right way to do it for sure. Yeah, I was doing the same thing, like only focusing on either TCR or tend to be the LMP3 as well, just winging it with F4 and USF, which is a bit of a shame because I do love those cars, but it shows with the results I didn't do very well. So yeah, I don't blame you there. So the final USF2000 Club 1500 champion. It's nice to get a championship under your belt. Are you happy with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, having a championship is always nice. That's one more than Ben Chalcraft has. So I'm
Oh
yeah, burns.
Shots fired.
Shots fired indeed. Oh, brilliant stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do with practicing one car a week next season in the IndyCar. And will you be racing in GT3 or GTPs?
I signed up for the GT3. I only have a few laps in a GTP so far, and I thought, well, before I go prototypes on the big boys class, I might want to like get some more races in an LMP3 first or LMP2. Start a little bit lower.
I've never driven a GTP and I'm signed up to it, so I might go and do that in a minute actually.
Yeah, but you have at least some races in other LMPs, so
Very rarely indeed. Yeah, I think the LMP3 Long Beach race was the first race I'd done in the car, and it showed. Yeah. Well,
if you've never done multi-class, my suggestion is always start with the slowest one.
Yeah, but then I just hate people driving past me so fast, and it just looks annoying. I have done some multi-class, but I don't do enough of it. But yeah, I will try and fit some more racing in before we get to the start of the season. So yeah. Anyway, we have been going for an hour, so there's me saying we'll do it in a tight 30.
Hit the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, we hit the 30-minute mark, and then we
Twice over.
I blame Ture.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shouldn't have won so many championships.
It's all my fault. I'll
That's what we
take
know.
the blame.
That's what we normally do in the brain trust as well. Anyway, then, I would like to say once again, congratulations to Alex Murphy, to Rich Meesters, to Stephen Maxwell, to Ture Molarin, and to Philipp Miles on all of your championship successes over the season. And I want to say a massive thank you to you guys and to everyone else in the LOA who's raced over the seasons. It's just been really lovely to see everyone on track and having a great time racing together, and it's been so nice to chat to everyone over this season in the podcast. So thank you to everyone who's been on. Looking forward to chatting to you all about your race results in the next season to come. So
thanks for hosting these, Gareth. It's been a lot of fun, and I think about 1 or 2 weeks now, and we'll get going again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also a extra reminder, guys, don't forget Rich is going to be over here in London in June.
Yep.
And so it's Monday, June the 10th. We are going to be at the Blackfriars pub in London to have a pint with Rich. Well, I am going to be, and I know that Chris Forrester is coming down to have a pint as well. So anyone else can, if you can make it, then do pop up in that Monday evening, and it'd be really nice to see you and to see Rich and to have a beer with him and his wife. And I'm really looking forward to it. So just get that out there as a little plug.
Looking forward to it.
Me too, man. Yeah, me too. Anyway, that is going to wrap up this edition of Scrape Metal and Roll, and indeed the season. We finally put it to bed. So a big thank you to all you guys once again, and it's now time to say goodbye. So goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. See y'all later, Lagos.
Cheers, guys. See you next time.